mellow. Yeah, I like to keep it mellow. I smoke and keep it mellow. I drink and keep it mellow. Every day I keep it mellow. Every day I keep it mellow. I smoke.
What is going on, guys? You got Rico here, bringing you another team building video. This team builder is for the other league I'm currently in than the last video I uploaded. This league is the WBA. It's actually a league that I created myself, and yeah, so I'm going to be breaking down my team, what I brought, kind of why I brought it, what my thinking was behind it and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. So we are currently in week 9 over here, and I am playing the Jubilife City Crabbies. No, sorry, not the Crabbies. I don't know why I said that. The Jolteons, coached by my boy Roliat. He's a really nice dude, so it was good fun getting to play against him. He's got a pretty good record, as you can see here. He's 5-4, so he was doing pretty well, and I'm currently 6-3, so I've got a decent record, just about in the playoff spots at the moment. And yeah, so this is my draft here. Got a pretty good draft. I've found the weaknesses I have with it as I've gone through the season, obviously. There's definitely quite a few weaknesses with it, but I like it overall. It's got some cool mons. So let's go ahead and break down what my team is and why I decided to bring it. I'll put up a list of his mons, what he brought over here, and we can break down why I'm bringing what I'm bringing. So first off, I just decided to put my Camerupts in. So we got the rocket helmet. This is mostly for the crocodile, because I have a lot of ground weaknesses on my team, or on my roster I should say. As you can see, the first 4 there, all weak to ground. So I wanted something that can just tank hits from the crocodile and not really care too much about it, and also punish it with if it goes for knockoff or crunch or things like that with the rocky helmet. We've got spikes, obviously, just to set him up pretty nice. He's got Fortress, which is really good to hazard remove, obviously, but I don't foresee him bringing Fortress, to be honest. Just because I think he'll look at Victini and decide he doesn't want the Fortress. So I decided to bring the spikes to see if I can get a chance to set him up. Toxic to hit the Piloswine mostly, to mostly get the Piloswine, but also the Vaporeon, and then Roost and Bravebird. Pretty obvious. Bravebird actually does a lot to a Mega Venusaur. I think if it's fully physically defensive, it does like 40% or something. If he's got no physical defense, he's max HP. I think it does like 60% or 50 to 60. So Bravebird's pretty nice there. So yeah, mostly for the crocodile to wall that thing. It does well against the Braviary as well, and pretty well against the Minior. It's a pretty good response to that, even though we don't really have any way to hit it back. It's nice if you wanted to bring that Minior. So yeah, that's the Skarmory. I just realised my ability there is Keen Eye. That should be sturdy. So that's not really, it's not a great start. There we go. That's supposed to be sturdy. Next up, I decided to bring a especially defensive Golbat, obviously with the Eviolite. This was to take care of any of his kind of special threats that he could bring, so obviously Gengar's one of them. We pretty much walled the Gengar outside of a T-Bolt, which even with specs only does just over half. So obviously if he goes for the T-Bolt on a switch-in or whatever, and I know he's specs, then I can just go straight out into my ground type. Or if he's not specs, it's not doing over half, so we kind of beat him down. It's also really good against a special Infernape if you want to bring special Infernape, and it's good on a choice locked Gardevoir, obviously. Decent against the Venusaur as well. Again, we've got Bravebird because it hits it pretty hard, and this thing just hard walls Superior. If you wanted to bring Superior, then this thing just hard walls it, like it does absolutely nothing. I can't see him bringing Superior just because I've got too many things that stop it, so I can't see that coming. So yeah, that's basically it. There's not a lot to say really. Just Brave Bird hit the Venusaur back, hit the Special Infernate back. Roost just for the longevity. Defog for any hazard control if you wanted to bring that Fortress and hazard spam me. And I didn't really know what to put for the fourth slot here. I ended up going with Tailwind. It's very situational, but if I can get a Tailwind up and get Lucario in for a few turns, Lucario does incredibly well, or even my Nidoking as well. So I was thinking with Tailwind. I kind of thought about U-turn, but I don't see there being a lot of momentum in this match just because of the way his team is. He's got a very offensively aimed team. I think it's more going to be like sack for sack. Well, not sack for sack, but like he'll kill something, I'll bring something in and kill something, he'll bring something in, kill something. I can kind of see it being more like that. But yeah, that was the thinking with Golbat anyway. Next we got the leader of the squad, my first pick, absolute beast, Victini. Bringing a very different set to anything I've brought so far this week. Going with the Choice Scarf set. And special, primarily special moves. So, my thinking with this Victini was that, obviously, when he opens up my team here, that's like probably going to be the first thing that he sees. And thinks, shit, I need a way of dealing with that. And to me, what I would bring is either physically defensive Piloswine or physically defensive Venusaur, or physically defensive Crook. Obviously with Intimidate. So that's why I decided to run the Blue Flare and Psychic over V-Create and Zen Headbutt, just because I thought he would expect me to go physical. So I've gone special instead. The Bolt Strike is there solely for the Vaporeon. Literally just for that thing, because it gives me so many headaches. Vaporeon I really don't want to see come. In a way it's a 50-50, because I think he has so many mons he could bring that he might end up leaving the Vaporeon out. So many offensive mons he can bring that just really, really wreck me. So it's kind of a 50-50 in that way, but if he does bring it, I'm going to have some trouble getting through it, that's for sure, because it's so fat. So yeah, we'll see. But the Bolt Strike's there. Bolt Strike does like 40 to 50%, I think, to a physically defensive Vaporeon. Interestingly, Bolt Strike does more to physically defensive Vaporeon than T-Bolt does, even though I've got max special attack. That's just because of the extra power you get from Bolt Strike, which really surprised me, but apparently that's the way it goes. So yeah, we've got our special Victini there. I'm hoping with the Choice Scarf he can put in some work revenge killing stuff. Like obviously the Infernate, the Gengar. Blue Flare does like 80% to a non-HP Crook. Gardevoir, Mega Venusaur, we can Psychic it. Serperior, if he doesn't bring Scarf, Serperior. Well, he's not bringing Serperior anyway, to be honest. Like, I know he's not bringing that thing. And we can also Bolt Strike the Minior if he gets to +2 with a Shell Smash. So that's the thinking there. Enough speed to outspeed whatever we needed to. I think that was probably the Gengar. Probably to hit Gengar 312. Something like that. So, yeah, that's the Victini set we got there. Next, I decided to bring my Lucario. I pretty much decided I wanted to bring this thing straight away to deal with a Minior. Like if Minior gets to +2 and is getting out of hand, I can just send this thing in and Meteor Mash, and it's like a 75% chance to OHKO. Even with the more defensive form of it, is that Shields Up? I don't know what it's called. Core form, I think it's called. So when he has like 100 base defenses and 60 attacks, Meteor Mash does 75% chance to OHKO, I think. So once he's shields down, then it OHKOs all of the time. So yeah, that was the first thing I saw with Lucario. The next thing I saw was that at +2 he doesn't really have a lot of answers. I mean, unfortunately he's got a lot of faster mons that outspeed it and can just come and revenge it. But I decided to put the Shuckerberry on to try and help with that a little bit. Like, obviously Lucario's base 90 speed, Crocodile's 92. So if I kill something and he thinks he can just go into Crook freely to revenge me with the EQ, I can take the EQ with the Sugarberry and kill him with a close combat. So that's my thinking with the Sugarberry. Whether or not that'll work, we'll wait and see. But yeah, if we can get a Swords Dance up, and some of his faster mons are either worn down or already dead, then we can, bullet punch what we need to that outspeeds us, and close combat and meaty mash the rest. I think we get neutral coverage on every mon with those 3 moves, so that's pretty nice. I decided to go adamant. We don't outspeed a max speed Gardevoir. That's the biggest problem with this, because at max speed he's 284. But I just felt like it wasn't worth the extra speed just for that thing. I really appreciate the extra attack, because I'm not running the Life Orb obviously as well. The extra attack is really needed, and obviously I still have Bullet Punch for the Gardevoir anyway, so it's not really a big problem because I click Bullet Punch every time anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Lucario. Again, pretty simple stuff really, just max attack, max speed, and if we get the chance to set up, it's really nice. But if not, Meteor Mash and Close Combat still do quite a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Lucario. Next we've got our boy Prince. Nice and shiny this week. I don't think I brought shiny yet, but I thought why not? Shiny is really fucking cool. It's one of the best shinies in my opinion, so I decided to bring it. And yeah, it's pretty standard Nidoking. I looked at physical for a bit, but special was better overall. Even though he's got like a lot higher physical attack stat, special because of the sheer force is a lot better overall. I also wanted to bring Scarf Nidoking for a long time. That's what I was going to bring. Again, as a kind of revenge killer, like similar to Victini. It revenges the Inferno, revenges the Gengar, revenges the Crocodile if it's got a bit of chip on it with Ice Beam. So those 3 mons that naturally outspeed me, it was really nice for. But I got a bit of help team building from a good friend Neons. Shout out to him. He's helped me out a couple of times in the past now with team building, and it's coming really, really clutch. So thank you Neons for the help here in convincing me to bring Life Orb over Choice Scarf, just because basically we were talking through and he was like, you're using it to revenge kill Ape, Gengar and Crocodile. Well, any of those 3 could quite easily also be Scarf. Like, those are commonly Scarfed mons. So it's kind of pointless using it as that. You're better bringing it as a breaker, with T-Bolt for Vaporeon, Sludge Wave for Mega Venusaur. Sludge Wave for Mega Venusaur. Things like that to try and just put big holes into his bulkier threats. So I decided to go with that in the end, mostly because of that reasoning. The extra power from Life Orb with the sheer force is ridiculous. It hits so hard. And also because I already had the Victini Scarfed, which basically dealt with the same mons that Nidoking would, as a revenge killer. So I thought if I bring this more as a breaker, and then I can use Victini more as a revenge killer / not really a sweeper, but like a faster mon to take care of things, that would work better. And the last mon on the team, again, big shout out to my boy Neons. Thank you very much for giving me some insight on bringing a Choice Specs Sylveon, which I've not brought yet this league. I actually expected I'd bring it more than I have, because it hits so hard with Hyper Voice. It hits so fucking hard. So yeah, again, I was talking to Neons and he was like, basically I was most worried of the core of Vaporeon Mega Venusaur. Like, I just have absolutely nothing to really take care of both of them very well. I mean, obviously Victini beats Mega Venusaur with its Psychic, And I do have a Jolteon for the Vaporeon, but Jolteon just had a bad matchup overall, especially with him having 2 ground types. Excuse me. I just didn't think it was worth bringing Jolteon just for that Vaporeon, which I was kind of 50-50 on coming. So Neons was talking to me and he was like, yo, Choice Specs Victini Hyper Voice does like 60% to Vaporeon. And I was like, what? What? And fucking Psyshock does like, I think it's about half. Hold on, I can calc it. We got it loaded up, and this is Mega Venusaur. That's 156. Psyshock does 55%, and that's plus Spadef, 156 in Spadef. And his Sludge Bomb doesn't do a lot to me, and I EV'd it in speed to be able to outspeed a min speed Venusaur and a min speed Gardevoir. So this thing just put huge dents in his team. Obviously it does a lot to Infernate with Hyper Voice. Psyshock does a lot, well, it OHKOs Gengar, and Hyper Voice does 70% to Gengar. Hyper Voice does shitloads to Crook, shitloads to Vape, shitloads to Gardevoir, shitloads to Piloswine. This was another great answer to Piloswine, because I kind of didn't have a lot for that. Specialtini was decent against it, but with the thick fat, doesn't mind it too much. And Badger was decent, but its defense is pretty nice. So I was kind of worried about that Piloswine too, but this thing did like 60% to Piloswine, I think. So overall, I just realised how powerful the Specs Hyper Voice is. I decided to put it on. The other nice thing was that I literally only needed Hyper Voice and Psyshock as the 2 moves to be able to hit everything other than Fortress, which I didn't think was coming, and if it did, like, I didn't need this thing to hit it. So yeah, that's the team, guys. I've been talking long enough. I'm kind of worried about this matchup, to be honest, because his draft just smacks me up, in my opinion. Like, his offensive threats have good speed tiers against me to be able to either naturally outspeed me or Scarf and outspeed my Scarfers. So I'm really worried about that. Because I know he plays very offensively as well, just from like watching his replays in the past and stuff. So things like Victini, Lucario, Nidoking, he just naturally outspeeds with his fastest Mons, which is really annoying because it's forcing me to run the Scarf on a couple of things and stuff like that. And then also his core of, although you look at his draft and you're like, oh, he has no real defense. He's got Vaporeon, Piloswine, and Mega Venusaur, which combined is really, really tough for me to take down with the Mons I have in my draft. So yeah, I'm pretty worried about this game, to be honest. I don't feel as confident as I would like to be going into it, just because of how I match up. And also because it's a huge match in the race for playoffs. He's 6th on 5 and 4. I'm currently 4th on 6 and 3, and the top 4 qualify. So this is a really, really big match, because obviously if he wins, we're both on 6 and 4, and if I win, then it gives me a really solid chance of qualifying for playoffs, with only 1 game left after this game. So it's this game, then 1 more. So it's a huge game, probably the biggest game in the league so far for me, because it's like win or lose will probably decide whether I make the cut for playoffs or not, just because of how tight it is up at the top there, you can see, other than Saffron Scythers. Coached by Dawn, who is just tearing shit up with his crazy draft. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me, guys. I'm going to leave it here, and make sure you all catch the actual replay of the match, which I'll be recording and uploading, and you can see how all my sets worked out and everything, and whether I managed to get the W. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.